Hello, creative people. Welcome to Creative Conversations. So happy to have you here. My name is Hollis Citron, and it is an amazing Sunday, and it's evening here. So wherever it is, hope you had a wonderful day or are having a wonderful day. This podcast, to give a little backstory, was born from my mission of my company, I Am Creative, which is to expand the definition of creativity beyond a pencil and a paintbrush, and to empower people, especially adults, to realize their own talents that come in many different forms. And here in this space, on this podcast, I get to talk to inspiring and amazing people that have professions and companies that vary in so many different things. I've spoken to biologists, I've spoken to a doctor, I've spoken to a hormone specialist, an age alchemist, and so many more kinds of different professions and people. And we get to dive into these concepts and explore in real discussions that center around three questions. One, how do you define creativity? Two, how do you incorporate it into your life? And three, why do you think that it's important? And then we have a free-flowing conversation and we see where it goes. So my incredible guest today joining me from Northern California are Meika Cooper and Kaleo Salas. And Meika and Kaleo are energy healers, transformational coaches, plant medicine facilitators, and with a company that they started called Thrive Integration. They bring over 20 years of experience in the field of spiritual psychology, higher consciousness, channeling, plant integration, and I could go on, but I'm going to let them, as the conversation goes, we will explore that more, but they come with so much experience. So hi guys, so glad that you're here. So I'm actually going to do a would you rather question before we dive into the first question. So my would you rather question is to both of you, and Meika, I'm going to ask you first. Would you rather put a stop to war or end world hunger?
Ooh, wow. Okay. So, gosh, I think I would want to, that is so hard. Like my heart, I'm tapping in and my heart is just going both ways. But, what comes forward for me is putting end to war. Like, to me, I do not understand war. I really don't. I feel like it's such an old mentality. I feel like we're coming to an age where, we're beginning to awaken and we're seeing that we're all literally one. So it's just pointless to be fighting ourselves, really, and to me, like, world hunger, of course, but just war just seems so ridiculous. It seems so ridiculous. And I feel like if we could stop fighting one another, which is really just fighting ourselves, and really be in acceptance of one another, everything else would fall into place. We'd see each other as ourselves and we'd take care of each other, which would actually end world hunger. So I feel like if we stopped the war, we'd end world hunger too. So I'm going to go with the war. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Kaleo, how about you?
Beautiful. I couldn't have said it better myself, but for the sake of this conversation, I'm going to take the other side, right? And with the same mentality as if we didn't have war, that people would be able to feed themselves or something egoic that's saying we need to take something. And then the people who are out there warring are the people who really, a lot of the times, the frontline people are the people who are hungry. They feel like they need something. So in order to survive, or they need something that says, I'm a part of something. So as much as I could say, yes, absolutely, end war, I'm feeling that if people were able to feed themselves and have food in their gut, that they'd be less inclined to want to war, and perhaps that would lead to us not having as much war. So you can't go wrong with either of those questions. I think it's a great question, but I'll say if people could eat like roof over the head, food in their bellies, and that would lead to a much more amicable place to live and be,
Yeah.
and would be less likely to war. But I think
Ooh,
the first answer is perfect. Yeah.
I think they were both. Yeah, like
Yeah.
this is going to be a really good conversation. So that was just the icebreaker. So off to a good start. So the first question is, and I guess I will put it this time to Kaleo first. How do you define creativity? This is for both of you, but we'll start with Kaleo first. How do you define creativity?
Creativity. I love this. Considering that I call myself, or label myself, a creator, and creativity is just one of the most magnificent things that we can experience, because really we're channeling from another source. From, in my belief, the source energy is feeding us something that is from nothing. We channel something and then it becomes something. It could be a poem, it could be music, it could be film, it could be just a way of speaking. It could be what I'm doing right now, just in this conversation. So creativity is bringing something from nothing that is then new. And I don't know if there's ever a thing that you can't do that is that. I like to think of everyone as being creative and being creators of their lives. So when people wake up in the morning and they choose which way to go, roll off the bed, you're creating a new outcome. When you choose what kind of clothes you're going to wear in that day, you're creating something. When you choose how to speak to another individual, either kindly or harshly, you're creating a vibrational frequency. So creativity is bringing something from nothingness into somethingness. And I don't know if anybody can ever do that or not do that throughout the day. I think we're all creative and we're all creating every moment. So that's what I label as, or see as, creativity, is bringing something from nothing and bringing something new, which is always ever unfolding.
Yeah, that's a really cool aspect to it, actually. Also, where you mentioned to me the vibrational frequency.
Yes.
That can kind of change everything. It's kind
Absolutely.
of like, it's like that movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow. It's, she just missed the train by, a second. So
Right.
It was like one outcome and another outcome. And what you bring to something, the energy, the vibration you bring to it brings out different outcomes. But either way, it's a creation of something.
Absolutely. Totally agree. Yeah. Beautiful.
How about you, Meika?
Wow. So I do love that question as well. And it's funny because my answer is, I've never heard Kaleo's answer to that, but my answer is very similar. It's really, to me, it's an expression of the source within. Creativity is tapping into and really listening into that source energy, as Kaleo said, that's within all of us, and expressing that, bringing that to life. And there's, as Kaleo said too, there's just so many forms that can take. But for me, that's what it is. It's tapping into that source energy, which is within all of us, and really listening in to it and bringing it into fruition, bringing it into this physical world reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I love talking to people about this whole subject is it just brings up so much, and there's so many different responses but there's also so many overlaps in answers. But in speaking to each other in this moment now about this, and all three of us being entrepreneurs and forming and creating this whole process of where we came from, and this acknowledgement and this awareness that we have with all the work that we've done,
right,
with this awareness to bring us to this point. I mean, we're birthing this new, like, we've gone through the contractions, we've gone through the actual labor where the thing is like birth, but we're like, we're growing it and we're nurturing it.
Right.
Yes,
at this
absolutely.
point. But it would be great to hear if you could share with people, just a little bit about your your venture,
Mm.
your company?
Right. So I'll go ahead and start. So Thrive Integration Program was as really an amalgamation of, our entire lifetime, maybe probably lifetimes, and certainly the last 20 years of our own personal awakening and waking up to another way of being. 20, 25 plus years of different practices, from meditation to yoga to Reiki energy healing to card reading. And I'll let Meika share a little bit about her, since she was very, very young, being into the other realms of beingness and the other side in regards to spirits. But this particular venture was brought about and inspired by a plant medicine ceremony that we experienced, and it was really a game changer, a life changer, that we had at a place called Rhythmia. I'll give them a little plug because I love what they're doing down there, because there's a lot of healing and a lot of transformation that's occurring down there in Costa Rica, in that Maloka. And it really doesn't have to be in that arena, but when we're open to the miraculous nature of life, and we're open to the areas that we don't know, then there's so much possibility. It's really endless possibilities that exist. So for this particular inspiration, the plants, specifically ayahuasca, opened Meika and myself up to another realm and another way of being, and really a inspiration, really a guidance, really something saying this is what you are to do. And when we were in that Maloka, both Meika and myself were given instructions. And we were given instructions by, however you want to call it, we call it Mama Ayahuasca, but really from spirit, as to what we were to do with our life's purpose. And we were told, not with one another, we were actually in different parts of Maloka, but after that experience, we came back that night and we said, what did you find out? What were you told? How were you guided? And both of us said we were told that we were healers, that we're going to open up this healing center in Hawaii specifically, and that we were to create this integration program for people who are coming through these entheogenic experiences, be it psilocybin mushrooms or ayahuasca or iboga or any of them, and help people to integrate what they have learned in those experiences into their lives. Because as the shamans will tell you, 50% of the work is done in the Maloka when you have the medicine, and 50% of the work is done when you get home. I found that it's even more when you get home, because when you're in the Maloka, a lot of it is joyful experiences. Not always; it's very challenging, actually. Quite a bit of it can be some of the most terrifying things that you ever have to go through. But after you go through it, there's a deeper understanding of yourself, a deeper understanding of the nature of the universe, a connection to an energy that you possibly hadn't experienced before. And so, although there might be very, very challenging experiences, at the end of it, it's generally something that's going to be very, very beautiful. And what we experience when we come home really is what sticks, right? So you may have this wonderful experience with the medicine, but when you come home, a lot of people, the shine kind of comes back off. That, a week in, a month in, they start to have this dip. And this is not something that is infrequent. It's actually something that's quite common. And so because we had this experience of our own awakening over the course of the last 20, 25 years, plus we were just coming out of Bob Proctor's program, Thinking into Results, which is where we met Hollis and Art and all these other wonderful people. And that coupled with that really created this beautiful experience, and that there was a deeper understanding of how we can serve people. And in our work in Thrive Integration, that's what it's always coming back to. How can all of our challenges, our pains, our valleys, how can we use all of our pain to find our superpower and then live into our purpose? That's really what we want to help people discover. And it may be through the plants, and it may be through people having, a really rough time in life. There's something that they just can't get beyond. They've had something happen and they can't shake that energy. And we have been taught by many masters really how to do that. And Meika and I practice this all the time. We practice it on ourselves. We practice it with our clients all the time. And it works. It gets the results that we're looking for, which is to have a new framework. We reauthor an old story in order for that story to show up in our lives every day in a new and empowered way. And when we do that, then our entire reality shifts. There's a 180 that occurs. And it's just a matter of us being aware of those things when they come up. And when we're aware and we're mindful, then we can make a choice. And from there, we take responsibility for our lives. And we say, I'm going to choose to see my life and my experience in this circumstance in an empowering way, in a way that serves me, in a way that heals me. And at the end of the day, when we do that, we have the opportunity to serve others. We have the opportunity to heal others. And at the peak of the pyramid, like we always talk about in Thrive Integration Program, is when we discover our superpower. We know that every challenge in our lives has had purpose and will always have purpose. And that purpose at the end of the day is to be of contribution to others, is to be there to heal others, is to be there to be an energy of light and love for others. And in order to do that, we have to heal. And many times that's through plant medicine, but it doesn't have to be through plant medicine. But we've found that plant medicine has really opened us up in our lives and has turned the light on so much that we can't deny the beautiful power of nature. And so we've taken all of that together, and we've been called, and we've answered the call, and now we're helping a lot of people heal, and it's just beautiful. We're living our life's purpose. We're living what we're on this planet to do at this time. So that is humbling, and the transformations that we see, and to be a part of it. And we're and it's thrilling and it's exciting, and like you said, this show's about creativity. We're creating new worlds of reality for people. I mean, that is just very humbling and just beautiful, and we do that for ourselves all the time as well. So the plants, that's where it started, and being in touch with spirit, and being willing to be responsible for our lives, and being open and surrendering to that calling. So I know that's a lot, but that's the inspiration where it came from.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. And I can't wait to hear from Meika what you want to add to that. I mean, what's beautiful about what you guys, first of all, I love that. It's incredible to me when I've heard this story before. This was more detailed, but that you both got the message in different places, which, I mean, you weren't together when you received this message. Right. It came to you in the same physical location, but not together. Right. So, and what you guys have created, like what you're creating all the time, it's a very specific niche, which is so wonderful. So yeah, Meika, what do you have to add?
Yeah, I wanted to add that, it's just such a beautiful thing. Like Kaleo said, it feels like, we are living our life's purpose now. And the interesting thing is that's what our program is really at the core all about, is helping people to really discover and dive into what really lights them up and what they've been put on this planet to do. Because I feel like everybody has a specific assignment, a specific purpose, a specific purpose for incarnating into this life at this time. And when people find that, when they find that thing that just lights them up and what they're here to do, it, like, their life takes off in this incredible way. And it's so fun. Like, that's my favorite part of our program. And that's my favorite part of, like, the people that are called into our program, because what we've been noticing is that we've been attracting a lot of light workers, and a lot of light workers who are kind of at a place in their lives where they're like, I feel this calling. I might be in, like, my 9-to-5 job and it just doesn't feel right anymore. Or, I feel like there's something else out there that I'm supposed to be doing, but I don't quite know what it is. And then when people, when they come into our program and they find that alignment, it's so incredible to see their spirits and their life completely transform. And really, I love that this is all about creativity, because that's what we're doing. That's what, Kaleo and I have been learning to do, and we're helping others to do, is really understand that we all have the ability to create the life of our design, and when we step into who we truly are and we get aligned with the magnificence and the beauty and the purpose of why we're here, we can create whatever it is that we're meant to create and really live into this beautiful, incredible life. And it's just so fun. It's so fun to do that for ourselves, and then to have this whole crew of people that are coming in that are learning our powers of creation and really stepping into these just living the life that they're meant to live, And I feel the more people that we can help do this, the more people that move into that alignment with their true self and their true soul. That's how we shift. That's how we shift the world, because the shift is happening right now. That consciousness shift is happening, and we can create a beautiful, an even more beautiful world. And that's what I love about it. That's what I love about this whole thing. So.
Yeah. As you're talking, I mean, it's, as you were saying things, it's kind of like there was a bunch of things that was coming to my head, but it's kind of like, and it's for me too, it's when you're giving people the possibilities and kind of presenting it, and people feel empowered. And when people feel empowered, there's kind of a sense of control, instead of, not that everything has to be controlled, but instead of feeling powerless and kind of so out of control, it creates those possibilities to me. And if you agree, they create some kind of, there's a control aspect where you're like, oh, and I could do this and I could do that. And it just is so, just the word empowering. It's so empowering. It feels incredible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Kaleo and I always, talk about in the program, taking 100% responsibility for our lives, and what shows up in our lives. And that is so empowering for everybody to really tap into that space where, oh my gosh, I am a creator. I am source energy. I really do have the power to create whatever it is I wish to create, and when we can tap into that, man, it's, there's nothing like it. Nothing
Absolutely.
like it.
And that, go ahead, Hollis.
Yeah, no, go, Claire.
No. So, it's, as our lives are based on a series of stories that have been told to us, a series of beliefs, which have created these paradigms that we live into and say, oh, I am able to do this, or this is possible in the world, or this has happened to me, so I see myself as this, or I am. It could be something that's empowering, or something that's something that's not so empowering, right? But when we get related to the understanding, and I love how they talk about in landmark education, is that it's all a story, and none of the stories are true. None of these stories are true. It's what happened was what happened, but yet when we look at what our story is about, that is what is landing within our energetic bodies. So when we take control of how that story is landing and what our story is about, it could be about a new endeavor that we're partaking in, who we are as parents, who we were as children, who we're going to be as we move forward in the next week. Whatever the story is, can all be shifted, transformed, healed, so that it lands, like you said, in an empowering way. And when we get to that level, we are bulletproof. We are unstoppable. Life, it has a certain shine. The vibrancy turns up, because then we see potential and possibility, whereas before we might have just seen an old story. And when we're talking about old stories, sometimes they have value. There's a value to it that maybe will keep us from harming ourselves, right? We can always give that justification, or this was done to me, so I am justified in holding on to this. But when we take a step back and get the bird's eye view and observe the situations that may have happened in our lives from when we were children, whatever our social circumstances were, when we get a bird's eye view and an observer view and say, I can release this thing, not only can I release it, but I can tell a new story. In our program, we always talk about reauthoring the story. What is the reauthoring that we're going to do? Because again, we look at taking our pain, and we believe that every painful moment in our lives, even the most painful that everybody has gone through, we've heard a lot in our healing sessions, just about as tough as you can think of. We always go to that spirit, that source energy, that in that moment is always forged our superpower. Our superpower was given to us in that moment. There's something in that moment that was given to us, a level of empathy, a level of compassion, a level of drive, a level of understanding, some type of connection that was created in that moment. We just don't believe that anything just happens by chance. Everything is purposeful. So from those painful moments, we get people related to their superpower, and their superpower then becomes, they live into their life's purpose. We don't want to lose the superpower, but a lot of times it could be, we identify with it as our strong suit, as something that we say, oh, I am this, and because of this, I can be whatever the justification is. I've had things in my life that have led me down the road that I can do everything on my own. I'm going to be able to handle this. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. But if you're cutting other people out as you're handling it on your own, then that's something that we want to look at transforming. So there's very subtle things in that superpower that we can also reframe and that will empower us. And we don't want to lose the superpower. The superpower is a beautiful thing. But if it's something that it creates distance from us or other people, or is causing something in our lives where we say, it's not as good, where we feel like we're not connected or aligned, then we also help people to reshape that. And like you're saying, this is a show about creativity. Create that new way of being so that the superpower stays intact. The things that we are no longer serve us can be transmuted, transformed, that energy released, and so that we can live into our true life's purpose. So it's so amazing what really is occurring right now in this moment in our reality. We're breathing. There's a miraculous thing that's occurring right now. And we can, just as I'm speaking, create whatever we want in this life. It is so exciting that we actually have that ability to reframe old stories and see ourselves as the creator of our lives moving forward. And when we get that, and we always have to represence that. Meika and I do this all the time. We're always in the manifestation. We're always representing things. We're always giving gratitude. We're always and it's not always rainbows and butterflies over here. but we love rainbows and butterflies. And we there's value in rainbows and butterflies. We love them. But at the same time, it's work all the time. And like they say in the Zen tradition, on the way to enlightenment, you chop wood and carry water. And when you reach enlightenment, guess what? You chop wood and carry water. This is a lifelong endeavor that we're on, a lifelong path, a lifelong journey. And when we get to that as well, we're ready to get up every day and do what's necessary, instead of saying, "Oh, I reached it." It's never it. We're all right here, right now, in this present moment is it. So when we can get really related to that, it's really magical. Life becomes magical, and that's what we're up to in life, is helping ourselves to be in that space so that we can contribute to others being in that space.
I think it's really important to notice, like, as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, and this is really, again, what this space is all about, is opening up the definition of what creativity is, and to understand that it's about communication, that it's about problem solving.
Yes.
And that's a huge part of what you guys are doing within your company. Before we move on to the second question for time, but as you're like, literally, I mean, in my head, I almost see you like shaping and sculpting and problem solving with each client that you're working with, to figure out where they are and kind of unearthing things, as figuring out what process is best for them in order to then uncover things to then grow and have them become the best version of themselves. Like it's a process, it's a sculpting process.
Totally, without
beautiful.
question.
I love that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well said.
Yeah. So I love it. But just as you're speaking, because I've been a creator all my life, like painting, drawing, writing. But I just see of like our lives are kind of like, when you drop a bit of watercolor on some watercolor paper and it could run, depending on how much water you put in there, it can kind of run all over the place. It's just like it's spreading and it's taking on a life of its own. It's organic. And we're like that. We don't look at the water where it's running and being like, that's bad. It's just, it's going, it's flowing, So when we're in that constant state of flow as well, I love that what's that other art form that you put the cup on there and they mix the acrylics with something else and it goes all, it has its own kind of way of, right? I love those, and it's like kind of instant art. I've never done it myself, but I always think that they look beautiful when they're to me. And so when I see these pieces done, there's like, you don't know the magical nature of these pieces. As it's like almost like the creator itself is creating this design. You can play with it a little bit, but that's kind of like how our lives are. You don't know what the end is going to look like, but man, if we just stay in flow and we're open to every moment, every breath is a creative moment. It's exciting. It's wonderful. It's so fun to live in a creative in a creative life and say, I'm co-creating here. And what's funny, Hollis, is that, there's, I'm sure you've experienced this as well. Other creatives, like it's the idea of being a tortured artist and all of that thing. And I used to think, right? And I used to think of myself like being like, man, I don't feel all that tortured, but I love creating. And some people be like, yeah, the best stuff comes out of it. And possibly tons of wonderful works have come out of people's pain, right? Without question, and traumas and things like that. But there's also, as much as that creates, beauty creates as well, and being in a state of love and light creates beautiful artwork as well. So I just, as I've been a creator, I thought of, wow, do I have to go through a torturous thing in order for me to have like good art, because I'm sure you have a lot of artists who are on here. And I'm just, as another artist, you don't. But if you do create something out of it, hey, God bless it, and be thankful for the pain that created that beautiful piece of art, right? But I don't think you don't have to be.
There's an energy that comes with it, though, where when it's coming from that space, where it's a vibrational energy that isn't a high energy. My father was a photographer and he sold his work. Later in life, he made a life change. And my uncle, his brother, was a fine art painter. And we would always have these arguments. And my uncle was the tortured artist. Nobody gets me, da-da-da. And my father would be like, shut the fuck up.
Oh, I love this. I love it.
Just, make your work and people appreciate it. I can't make it. People won't appreciate it. They don't understand me. But his energy was always so low.
Right.
Whereas my father brought, we could talk about this forever. It was just, brought a different energy to it. But actually, I'm interested with, Meika, let's dive into the second question, which will kind of lead into your skills as well. So the second question is, how do you incorporate creativity into your own life?
Yeah.
And I'm curious what you have to say that, Meika, with all of your skills and all of your tapping into and how you communicate and create.
Yeah. So for myself, that tapping into source energy, I use my creativity in my mediumship and in my healing, really, because ever since I was little, I have had the ability to really tap into the spirit realm, and I can do that for other people as well. So I have the ability to listen in to the other side and really connect with people and listen into past people who have passed away, their past loved ones. Also hearing messages from the angelic realm and getting messages that way. And so when I say like tapping into that source energy, like I use my creativity to tap into the spirit realm and really listen to the messages that spirit wants to bring forward, for myself and for other people who want to tap into, and connect with their past loved ones. Also Kaleo and I together in our healing work, and this is kind of a new way that I've learned to use my creativity, and that it's so awesome. It's so much fun, and it's basically like what we're doing is we are tapping into that other dimension, that source spirit realm, and helping people to so people will come with like a pain point, something that's been really bothering them, some sort of blockage in life where they feel really stuck. Mm-hmm. And so what Kaleo and I actually do together is we go into their pain point, into their memories, and we go into the quantum realm with them and go into their memory, go into that pain point, and help to reframe. We use our own spiritual light. We use the help of our spirit guides and source to help people to really transform those memories and heal those memories, so they're relating to life in a completely different way. And a lot of times it'll show up not just in pain points that happen in this lifetime, but it's things that have happened in past lifetimes as well. So it's really like using my spirit to tap into their spirit to help them to like go back. It's not really back in time. It's to go and experience that point in time that blockage occurred. And like I said, a lot of times it will be in a past life as well. And for me, like just tapping into that spirit realm and that past lifetime realm, tapping into other people's loved ones and bringing messages forward, that's how I use my creativity, and it's just so fulfilling, because it's like, it's that definition of tapping into the spirit realm and then bringing that forward into this physical reality. I feel like I use my creativity to tap into that realm and then bring forward the messages of healing to myself and others, and that's it. That's how I love to use it.
Woo. I mean, that's like transformation. That's So I have to ask. So is this done all through like a meditation? And it can be at a distance, obviously, with the times that we're going through right now. Is this like all energy? Is this all energy work where it's a meditative state? Is it using plant medicine?
Yeah. So, oh man. Okay. So yes. So basically, what we do with our clients is it doesn't matter where you are, because spirit is there is everywhere, right? So with our clients and my clients, everything, we can do it in person or we can do it remotely. It doesn't really matter, because what we're doing is we are feeling into the energy of their soul. It's like a soul to soul connection. Wow. And that can be done from anywhere, and in these times right now, especially, everything is done remotely, and it doesn't matter if it's in person or remotely. We're tapping into spirit, tapping into soul. So it's everything now is done completely remotely.
Wow, that is so incredibly intense. I'm like sitting here just kind of like taking it all in.
It's so fun, Hollis. It is so much fun. Like it is. It's so like, it is a little bit of heavy lifting because people have gone through a lot of trauma, and we're really helping people to reframe that and to come from we're really reprogramming is what's happening. We're reprogramming and filling those old traumas with light, and it's heavy lifting at times, but at the same time it's so playful and fun, because at the end of the day, like after we move into it and go through it, we always end up in the most beautiful place. It's like everyone is uplifted, and then like I said, spirits everywhere, and we're all interconnected. So we always tell our clients this, and ourselves as well, like, as you heal, as we heal everyone, because we're all interconnected. So those little spaces that when one person gets uplifted, we all get uplifted on a certain level. So in that sense, like, it's so much fun. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Kaleo, I just remembered, it's called pour painting. That's
right.
It's just
you've been around enough artists where you have a bank of artist friends who'd be like, that's not art, you're just pouring it out. I know I've been around enough artists, but it all is art. It's the only definition of what we want to say is art is only defined by what we think someone, like our experiences have been. When you look at it, every piece, I'm looking at things all around me. Every piece of machinery, the iPhones that we're on right now, the telecommunications. I mean, it's all art. I mean, and nature is the most beautiful artist there is, right? I mean, you can't even compare it to what is happening out there. So yeah, it's all art. It's all art, no matter what it is. And like we were talking about before, creativity. Every moment is a creative act. Every thought is a creative act. Every breath and everything that we do there's nothing that is outside of that, really. So when we get related to that, again, there's a lot of power that comes along, because then it's like, wow, I'm doing it already. Now, how do I want to do it? How do I want to paint my life? How do I want to design this thing? It's really fun.
That's beautiful, and I guess that's where kind of like the soul mission of my company is coming from. Is empowering people to feel that, because coming from an art school background, I mean, you could sit there and sit in a crit and like sit there for hours debating on an angle and what your thought process was and all that. And it's kind of like, okay, whatever. It has its time and place.
Yeah.
But to understand and empower people to understand that everything is like everything that we're saying is a creation, and everybody has the power to do it. And to recognize the fact, it would be my big argument in class, like in teaching, when I'd be teaching and kids would be like, I don't want to, art is stupid. I don't want to have to take this. And I'd say, well, the music you listen to, somebody had to write it. Somebody plays the instruments.
Yes.
The shoes that you're wearing, somebody designed those shoes and somebody made those shoes. The building that we're sitting in?
Yes.
Architects built this building in order for us to be in it.
Yes.
Those glasses that you're wearing? Somebody had to design those glasses. The food that you ate? Somebody came up with the recipe and actually made it. Like everything, it's just acknowledging that it exists within everything that we do. And you choose what piece you want to partake in.
Totally.
But to give it acknowledgement.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, and I love that, because and I could totally see. I know you probably have somebody in mind that you were actually speaking about, with that one student that you had to come back to all the time, right, for that particular thing.
I had multiple students.
Right. When you said the glasses, I'm like, I know she knows exactly. She's seeing that kid right now. But
I had multiple students, and then those students, especially in high school, they would have the phone in their bra. And they'd be arguing with me, and I'm like, and get that phone that somebody made out of your bra. It causes cancer.
I love it. I know. I love it. Oh my God. So yeah, I love that, getting people related to that as far as your life's mission. I mean, it's it's empowering work that you're up to. It's empowering work, and just getting people turned on to that is going to shift a lot of people's lives. When people get related to that they are the creator of their lives in a real way, and they wake up with that and they start to go through life in that way, there's nothing like it. You're empowered. You're like, I have no choice but to do this. I'm already doing it. So now what do I want to do with it? It's like beautiful.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Which is what we're all doing. And before I get to the third question, I just quickly am going to share a story about someone who I recently spoke to. And he said, did you talk to Dr. Spencer Poole? Because he's in TIR. Did you guys ever talk to him?
I don't remember speaking with him.
So.
No.
Yeah.
He's in England, but, real quickly, his son, when he was 18 days old, they were given a diagnosis that he was going to die, that his heart was not functioning well, and he was he couldn't get a heart transplant at 18 days old, and all of this. And he was a doctor himself. He studied with Bob Proctor one-on-one. Eventually, but he was reading Think and Grow Rich. And anyway, once they got the diagnosis, he looked at his wife and he said, "We're not available for this diagnosis. We're not going to accept it."
Wow.
Oh, nice.
And they held ceremonies where people prayed and they envisioned the outcome that they wanted for him. And he was out of the ICU in 2 weeks. He was home in a month. Doctors didn't know what was happening.
Wow.
And by 5 years old, he was completely cleared of any diagnosis.
Oh my God, amazing.
I love that. And that's the power of our creativity.
I know, right?
Man,
totally.
So beautiful.
Yeah, they took it upon themselves. That is a total creative act. I mean, right there, just on and with prayer and just holding ceremony and holding circle and just saying intentionally, I'm creating this thing. Now, a lot of people could say, they'll say what they will, and people will have, there's a lot of, they'll say, oh, well, this is anecdotal, and you can't, it doesn't, that type of thing may not stand up to a battery of scientific, going through the scientific method. But I'll tell you what, when you're co-creating with spirit in that way, and you have a belief and a trust, you're pulling from that fourth dimension. You're pulling from what Einstein talked about, the block universe, where everything that has, is, or will ever be is existing right now with multiple opportunities to create whatever you want in the moment. And the only thing that holds us back from that pure potential is our own limitations of old paradigms, old belief patterns, and what we think is true. Because when you start to do the work, and just like your buddy, they told him that's not going to happen. And he believed something different. And he said, I'm going to put my creativity, my energy, my belief, my focus into this. And it was so overpowering that now 5 years after that, he is nothing coming up on the diagnosis. I mean, it's powerful work. So what else is available to us when you start that's the beautiful part.
It is. And with all the work that you're doing in kind of getting into this, and I would argue with Dr. Joe Dispenza, what he proves is the scientific element of how the brain works and how the neuron, like how it all goes together, and that power of visualization, and how when you visualize and create that into a feeling and all of that, it's transformative.
Totally.
They've proven it.
Right. I know.
Absolutely.
I know. It's interesting. I love Joe Dispenza's work. I love that he's saying, as a scientist in his own, in the way that he does, creates his world, he's like, I want this to be provable. I want this to be put through that battery of experiences. And there is some shift and changes that have to be done, obviously, in modern medicine for them to remember the power of these things, because some of these concepts are from biblical times. They're thousands of years old. But when in the scientific method in the way that it is now, that it doesn't bring in energy, doesn't bring in some of these, chiropractic medicine, or some of these holistic medicines and herbs and things of that nature, you're talking about only about 100 years old. 120 out of the thousands of years that humanity has been around. So when we start to meld the two, and we start to say, well, modern medicine with all this, what quote unquote science behind it, let's bring in this other medicine that's been around for millennia, that now since over the course of the last 100 years has been pushed kind of to the side. How can we find this balance of being able to create something that's even greater than the sum of its parts. And that's really what we're getting to with some of the work like Joe. You know, his work mixed with the Western medicine is like, man, the potential is off the charts. And then we're just getting into, once we create that, what is the deeper levels of healing that can be done at those levels?
Right.
When you start to appreciate everything, and when you start to say, yes, there's value in all of these, and let us practice these things on a daily basis. How are we thinking? Like you said, how do we think when we go into surgery? How do we think when we go and are looking to heal? How do we think, and what are our belief patterns when our children are sick? Like a beautiful story that you just shared. I mean, all of these have value, and that hopefully you would love to see that being incorporated into Western medicine just as much as as a surgery is.
Right, exactly.
This is, it's sacred surgery, as they say in the medicine world. Sacred surgeries are occurring energetically, and when we align with that, man, it's the next level of humanity. It's the evolution, it's the human consciousness shift that is occurring right now, and it's the next evolution of humans. And just like they talk about with hockey stick, in stocks, and they talk about it with tech companies, and they want to see that hockey stick, hey, we're rolling, and now we're seeing this like shoot up through the atmosphere, through the stratosphere. That's what we're seeing in humanity. We're seeing things right now being broken apart, old systems crumbling, old ways of being that are really kind of like an anchor that we're tethered to an old paradigm of what we think humanity is. Yeah. And now we're breaking open to this new way of being that's saying, well, is that the way that it's always been, or that is always going to be? No, we're talking about this huge potential for evolution that we can see. If you can see it, just like, in that Bob Proctor's work, if you can see it, Napoleon Hill, if you can see it, Neville Goddard, if you can see it, Abraham Hicks, if you can see it, Reverend Michael, if you can see it, if you can resonate with it, if you can experience it right now, we can do it. We can do it. It's potential. The potential is there. So the more people that we get activated in that way, it's the 100th monkey. We're going to see this. We're going to feel that. We're going to start. And I love when these things come up that challenge us. Before I used to think that it was a bad thing, even if you're talking about politics. We have to see that as an opportunity of saying, what is the potential now for us to thrive? We see that there's an old way. We understand, but that has strengthened us for the next level of what our human consciousness shift is going to be. So we give gratitude for all of it. We give gratitude for that too, because what we're going to be seeing in the next 20 years is beyond our wildest dreams.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We can't even wrap our heads around it, which is going to bring me to this third question. And then
I'm getting goosebumps right now. I'm loving it, right? I'm loving it.
We're talking for like 3 hours, and it's
totally
like a powerful topic. So, why do you think creativity is important? In short, why do you think that it's important, Meika?
Because just like we've been talking about, everyone is a creator, and we all are tapped into source energy, and we all have the ability to create whatever it is that we want. And so it is so important, especially now at this point in time, at this point in our evolution, that we use our creativity for imagining, creating, manifesting that which we wish to create, this beautiful world that we can envision. It's so important right now to hold in the space, to use our creative juices to create and manifest the world that we really want to birth, because that's what's happening right now. We are in a rebirth right now. And that's why it's so important, especially at this point in time, that we just all use our creative forces for the good, for the light, and to really hold in that which we know is our highest light and our true potential. So, yeah. That's my 2 cents.
Hey, thank you for that. And how about you, Kaleo? Anything else to add?
Yeah, just that creativity, like we were saying before, it's all there is. It's all there is. It's the creator from which all of this is birthed. And so creativity is all there is from that creator. And it aligns us. Creativity aligns us with the greatest of what we are, the greatest of what we potentially can be. It's the gold on the mountaintop that we can see within ourselves. Our imagination aligns us with the grandest, greatest version of ourselves that we could possibly imagine, and it's always there. And so our creativity allows us to see that, and not only see that, but fulfill upon it through energy and through action so that we can manifest it in our lives. That's creativity. There's nothing like it. It's the best. It's the pinnacle. It is. There's nothing like it. It's the creator, the thing, the reason we're here. Something created it. There's just no doubt about. You could call it God. You could call it the Big Bang. I don't care what you call it, but something created this thing that we are experiencing right now. This is a creative endeavor. This is a creative act. There's nothing outside of it. There's nothing outside of that which is created. Because even as a thought, even as blank space, there's something that is the creator in that space. So just the greatest version of ourselves and the world and the reality that we can imagine. That is the creator. We are the creators as well. And so creativity is everything that we experience in every moment of our lives. So that's why it's important just to get related to that. We are that, and that we're experiencing that in every moment.
Yeah. So we step into, like you said, we step into our superpower.
Yeah.
Which is what you guys are all about.
Yes.
So as we wrap this up, so people can connect with you, we're going to put it, I want to put it into the bio and everything, but can you tell them real quick how they can connect with you?
Yeah, so they can reach us at thriveintegration.com, or they can go to Thrive Integration Program on Facebook. And they can also reach us. We've created a new group on Facebook that's really fun called Lightworker Land. Very simple, Lightworker Land. And that's the beautiful thing is that it's a community of individuals who are coming together and sharing their experiences. So that even gets us just as excited, if not more excited, because Lightworkers gathering means more energy together. And the more that we turn one another's lights on, the brighter we all shine. So Thrive Integration Program, or Lightworker Land, and they'll find us there. And my name's Kaleo Salas, and my wife's name is Meika Cooper, like you said before. But that's where they can find us.
Beautiful. So yes, you'll send me all that information just so I have it all in one place, and I'll put it in the bio so people can connect. Beautiful. And as we end, I kind of grabbed onto something that you had said, Meika, and to tie it all together, I love as we heal. As you heal, we heal, and we're all connected.
Yes.
Beautiful.
And I think that's just a really nice way to kind of bring it together. And this space is all about inspiring each other, connecting with each other, and sharing stories. So please follow, share, and that's what we're all about here, having these conversations that are completely high vibe. So I really, really, really appreciate your time. And thank you, listeners. Thank you, Meika and Kaleo, for being here and expanding the definition and being part of the whole, for doing all the work you do. So thank you.
Thank you, Hollis, for inviting us. Thank you for the show. Yeah, absolutely. You're a light. We love you. So thanks for doing this, and thanks for creating this. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us on. Beautiful.
Yeah, love you guys too. And we're all in this together, right? So
Absolutely.
Bring in the light. So everybody, again, thank you for taking this hour to listen, and have a great day.
Yes. Have a great day. Love and light.
Bye.
Okay. Bye, everybody.